This is a look at last night's lottery. The Cleveland Cavaliers landed the top pick for the second time in the last 3 years, followed up by the Magic, Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Bobcats, or soon-to-be Hornets, and rounding out the top 5, the Phoenix Suns. But being the top pick doesn't make you the best pick. Since LeBron James won Rookie of the Year in 2004, only 2 #1 overall picks have won the award. Here to dissect this year's talent, we bring in a couple of our insiders, Ken Bykoff from Indiana and Chris Patola from Duke. Ken, let's begin with you. A couple of guards from the Big Ten, Victor Oladipo and Trey Burke, not only looking like lottery picks, but potentially top 5 picks. We talked to Burke at the Combine. Here's what he had to say about how his game translates to the NBA.
Whoever drafts me, whoever ends up drafting me, they're going to get a guy that's going to work hard, and that's going to play with 110% effort on both ends of the court, and that's going to make plays for the team and also be a leader out there.
So, Ken, the question for you is, how will Burke's game translate to the NBA level, and will Oladipo succeed as a shooting guard or a small forward?
Well, I really think that quote could have come from either Oladipo or Burke. Burke kind of reminds me a little bit. His game reminds me of Allen Iverson or Derrick Rose, guys whose games are predicated on quickness, and I think that he's really going to be able to translate very well with that quickness to the next level. Oladipo, he's a kid that has just an incredibly high motor, is going to be able to play either shooting guard or small forward, although his size is probably going to make him more of a shooting guard at the NBA level, but he's going to accept the challenge of playing whichever position anybody asks of him.
All right, Chris, we're now going to put you on the hot seat here. We also spoke to Seth Curry from Duke, who had a tough time watching the draft combine from the sidelines.
It's tough, man. It's tough. They got me in the gym for I've been there for probably 2 hours just watching. It's hard to do, but I just want to be out there, especially with all the shooting drills going on. That's kind of my alley.
So, Chris, between Curry and another Blue Devil injured this season, Ryan Kelly, are you sold either of these two guys can make solid contributions in the pros?
Well, I'm not surprised. I think Seth was more upset about having to sit out shooting drills than the combine itself. But I think both of them can make an impact because they're both elite shooters with NBA range. The hurdle both of them are going to have to get over is they're underwhelming athletically. And the problem right now for each of them, because they're hurt, they're not able to help their cause, having to sit out, especially at that combine. So if they can eventually prove to teams that they can guard their position and play in an athletic league, certainly any team can use shooters, especially shooters like Kelly and Curry, who can be spacers and really shoot from NBA range.
All right, guys, this is the Twitter round now. You have to answer these questions in 140 characters or less. Ken, you're first. Cody Zeller, good pro career or bad pro career?
Somewhere in between. I think he'll be solid. He's somebody who might not end up being an all-star, but he's going to have a nice, long NBA career.
Chris, another big man, Mason Plumlee, good pro career or bad pro career?
Good pro career. Legit 7-footer, great hands, and can really run the floor for his size.
How about a guy that both of you saw in person, Deshaun Thomas from Ohio State? Ken?
I think Deshaun Thomas is a guy that's going to maybe excel at the NBA level more because of how many shots he puts up, but he's going to be, again, a solid player, but not an all-star.
I agree. I agree that he'll be a player in the NBA. I disagree a little bit in that he's a guy I think that concern a lot of GMs right now just because he's a little bit of a tweener. He's kind of a 3-4, and the problem he had in college was defensively. He's probably the best pure scorer in the Big Ten, but defensively a little bit indifferent. And the question will be, can he defend small forwards at the NBA level, or can he defend power forwards in the post? For Thomas, that's the question mark.
And you just described Antoine Walker.
Chris, sounds good. It might not fit on Twitter, but we love the response anyway. Fast forward 3 years from now, guys, which prospect will this class be an all-star, starting with you, Chris?
Well, do I have to pick one? This may be the worst draft in a decade. I haven't seen the European players as much, so I won't go there. I think the guy with the biggest upside is Oladipo. He's a terrific athlete, but he's an athlete who also plays hard. Which is a rare combination sometimes. So I think if you're going to pick one guy, my guy would be Oladipo.
Yeah, I really think that, for as good as Oladipo could be, I think that Burke's going to have the ball in his hands more. And so 3 years down the road, I agree with Chris that I'm not blown away with this draft class, but Burke could be the guy who could be the all-star.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Don't forget to watch our Spring Spotlight series on our site. Right now, Dabo Swinney discusses the in-state Heisman duel between Taj Boyd and Jadeveon Clowney.